It is, boy, what day of the week is it? Is it a Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? Boy, days of the week these days. It is Wednesday. We're really excited. July 14th, 2021. And we're going to have an awesome VETgirl Facebook or YouTube Live today. We're going to be talking about managing the increased caseload stress. And Amy and Megan and I were chatting before as we were just orienting ourselves a couple of minutes ago. And I think, Amy, you made the comment how timely this is. And obviously that's why we're doing it. But yeah, we all know this is incredibly timely. Before we get started, if you've been on a YouTube Live or a Facebook Live with us before, you know what we love to do. Is it a Wednesday? It's Wednesday, right? Boy, days of the week these days. It is Wednesday. We're really excited. July. Is somebody's audio feeding back? Hopefully that stops. I was getting a feedback on my end.
Yeah, that was weird.
I can hear it. Yeah.
Okay, maybe we're all good. We're testing it, working on the kinks. Love it. As you all know, we love you telling us where you're logging in from around the world. So let us know. We have our friend from Portugal. Hello, good to see you, Jose. Let's see here. Louisiana. We have Danielle from Louisiana. Darlene from New Jersey. Denise also from New Jersey. Maybe you guys are close. Darlene and Denise. The Yu family from the Bay Area in California. We have Ari, sorry if I pronounced that wrong, from Tennessee. Allie from Boston. So yeah, type in where you're logging in from around the world. We love it because I used to say, around the country, and that's just not the case anymore. It really is from around the world. I am logging in from, thankfully, pretty sunny Pennsylvania. I live just about 30 minutes north of Philadelphia in the suburbs. So it's a fairly sunny day in Pennsylvania. It's been rainy the past couple of days, actually pretty heavy storms 2 days ago. So I'm glad to not be in the rain. Amy, what about you? Where are you logging in from right now?
So I'm logging in from New York, and it's muggy and cloudy, but it's slowly getting sunny. So that's where I'm from right now.
Better than rain. What about you, Megan?
It is also muggy and cloudy here in Indiana. So I am in north central Indiana.
So I think we're all part of the muggy club right now. Thankfully, we're indoors and hopefully some good air conditioning. But if anyone there is from San Diego, I always joke that San Diego never gets a bad day of weather. Every time I've been there, I question why I don't live there. Please don't tell us that it's beautiful. We just know you're going to make us feel bad, or wherever you're dialing in from. Danielle wrote, I've heard both Megan and Amy at VMX and really enjoy following you guys and all the helpful advice. Awesome. Thanks, Danielle. Hopefully they live up to all that expectation today, right? They are amazing. If you've heard Amy and Megan speak before anywhere, which is probably likely because they are avid lecturers and some of the best that I've ever been around, you are in for a treat today. Well, it's a couple minutes afterwards. Again, if you love, we still would love to see where you're dialing in from or logging in from. So please continue to do that. It makes me happy when I scroll through the feed later to see how many people we interacted with today. So please go ahead and do that. But let's go ahead and start the presentation today. My name is Garrett Pachtinger. By trade, by nature, I'm a veterinarian. I'm a critical care specialist. I'm also the co-founder of VETgirl. I'm going to be behind the scenes moderating and helping you out along today, and I'll give the introduction and closing. Just so you know, if you do have questions, type them in towards the end. We'll read them out loud or ask them out loud. We're not going to really sort of interact or intermingle questions with the presentation, but we'll get to as many as we can at the end of the presentation. But if this is your first VETgirl event, welcome. We're so glad to have you here with us today. And let's go ahead and get started. Again, managing the increased caseload stress. For those of you that don't know, just a quick introduction. We're the tech-savvy way to get your continuing education. We offer webinars and continuing education and all facets of education and medicine. Small animal, large animal, technician, leadership, practice management, and just so much more. And it's not just webinars. Really, it is a multimedia approach to education. This is a shorter webinar. We call it a YouTube Live. We have longer traditional webinars. We also have shorter real-life rounds, podcasts, videos, blogs. What else do we have? We have our certificate program. So we actually had 4, and we just announced 2 more. So now we have a total of 6 certificates. The 2 that were just announced and just started, or a certificate track in ophthalmology and anesthesia and analgesia. That accompanies our others, basic and advanced emergency medicine, practice management, and nutrition. And this is a value add. This is not additional. All VETgirl members have complete access to our certificates as well. So a great way to get really focused education in a specific area and get a nice certificate afterwards saying you completed all that process. We also have our forum. So whether you want to vent over a venti, whether you want to ask a medical question, get some case advice, look for a job or post a job, all VETgirl members, again, value add, check out our forum, our message boards, our discussion boards to type in and interact with veterinary professionals from around the world. Important stuff. Like all of our webinars, this is a shorter webinar, but this is RACE approved as well. There are a couple of ways that you can get access to your CE certificate and verify that you're here. The first is, as you see on the screen, there's a URL, a website address, tinyurl.com/VG, and then today's date, 7/14/21. The other option is you all see a QR code. So most any smartphone now, here's my iPhone. If you open up your camera feature and point it directly at that QR code, what you'll see at the top is a little bar comes up. That's my iPhone Safari bar. If I just touch that, now up comes that same form. Let's see if I can get it closer. There we go. Same form where you can scroll and type in all your information to get your CE certificate. So you can either use that URL if you don't have a smartphone, or again, I'll do it again just for show one more time. If you open up your camera feature, just point it right at that QR code. A little bar comes up that says, yep, we recognize this is a website. Click on that, and then up comes your form. All right, excellent. So again, this is RACE approved. Usually within about 5 to 7 days, we'll verify attendance and then send you an email with your CE certificate. And then finally, I do know if you're on YouTube, sometimes it's a smaller screen, but I put a little arrow there and I'll make this big for you as well. We're talking about full screen. Let's make this full screen for a second. And that little arrow, that little sort of box in the bottom right corner, if you click on that, that actually makes the video the entire full screen instead of just that sort of smaller rectangular screen. So a nice way to see everything really big if that makes things better and easier for you. All right, with that said, I truly know you're not here to listen to me. I'm not here to listen to me today. We have two amazing speakers. We have Amy and Megan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop myself out of here. And Amy and Megan, I'll be behind the scenes. But if you can give our audience a little bit of an introduction, what your passions are, what you're doing right now, and then please take it away. The floor is yours. I'll be behind the scenes if there are any issues or questions. But thank you again for being here with us today. Such an important topic.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Garrett. So I'll start kicking off the introductions. My name's Amy Newfield. I'm a VTS in emergency critical care. I just started this week with the veterinary emergency group, also known as VEG, which makes me a veggie, or as I like to tell people, a vegicorn. So I'm very excited about that. They have a lot of veggie puns. So yeah, I'm really excited about starting this week. I'm residing for this week out of New York, where their headquarters are, and kicking off my brand new job. So I'll go ahead and pass the torch to Megan.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Megan Brashear. I am also a veterinary technician specialist in emergency and critical care, and I am sitting in my beautiful office here at Purdue University. I'm the small animal veterinary nursing manager, so I kind of have my fingers in all of the small animal services that we have here in the hospital. I love teaching, I love training, I love emergency, and so that's kind of what I'm doing here, is combining all of those fun things. And I'm just super happy to be here, so thanks for the invite.
Awesome, fantastic. All right, next slide. All right, who's busier? Is anyone busy in their hospitals? I don't know if you guys are experiencing it. Maybe it's just, no, it's everyone. It's absolutely everyone. So without question, it's insanely busy. And I've been in this profession for 23 years. I know Megan's been in this profession for over 20 years. And we decided to do this because we both started talking about, oh my God, we've never seen it like this. All right, next slide. So we have a variety of studies, and I tried to get some good data, but I think that we don't really know the data behind it. So the AMC out of New York did a study that said there was a 25% increase in new puppies and kitten ownership. Rover.com did their own study and said that there was an additional 15% of first-time new pet owners, and 65% of current pet owners actually got a new pet. I guess I'm guilty of that because I did get a tripod hit by car kitten in my life during the pandemic. And then Royal Canin said that 61% of pet owners got another pet. And there's an estimated 3.5 million new pets added to a household in the United States. And we certainly know this is not just a US problem. It's a worldwide phenomenon. I know that I've talked to people in the UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Mexico. We're all seeing everyone got pets. Megan, how's your clinic? Is it busy?
Absolutely. So I'm just seeing the comments here. People are saying, yes, chaos is more like it, and 100%. You know, we're kind of in the middle of Indiana, and it's where I don't live in a big metropolitan city, but we have seen just insane caseload increases. Our ER is slamming busy, but our ICU is also overflowing because all of our services are just seeing more and more and more and more cases. And we're trying to get creative as to where we're going to put all of them. So yeah, it has just been a complete madhouse, way, way busier than we expected. And it is no signs of slowing down.
Yeah, it is. And I think, like, especially in all of our hospitals, if you work in general practice, you can't get appointments. If you are working in specialty hospitals, you're closing your doors. Like, I've never seen it like this. It is absolutely out of control right now.
It is chaos.
It is chaos. It is chaos. So, all right, next slide. So veterinary clinics are busier, and I love this picture because I feel like that's how we feel on a daily basis. Like, we just see so many animals, so many cats, so many dogs, so many exotics. It really doesn't matter where you are. It's insane. And like Megan said, we're running out of room, literally no cages in many of our hospitals. So.
I think we took this picture in Purdue's ICU. Have animals everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe that. This is pretty much, I think it is Purdue right there for you. Yeah. All right, next slide. So let's talk a little bit about what stress is, and then we're going to dive into some ways of handling it. So it is defined as a physical, mental, or emotional strain or tension. And I think it's really important to recognize that while we are all stressed to some level, everyone responds a little bit differently. Okay, Garrett, next slide. So we are burned out both at home and at work. And I think this is the addition to the phenomenon. It's not just that we are seeing an increase in caseload count. I don't know about the rest of you, but 2020, I just like to exit off of the map as if it never existed, because it wasn't just the stress of our jobs. We still went to work because we are essential personnel. And so in the midst of this pandemic, we were scared too. We didn't know when this virus hit what it really meant. We didn't know, how we were going to get it or not get it, and who was going to be sick. And we had loved ones who were getting sick from it. And then if you're a parent, bless you. I mean, honestly, it's just, that's a whole new ball game. If you're a parent, your kids were in school, out of school, in school, out of school. The stress of trying to manage your job and children. And by the way, you all became teachers. Yay, homeschooling. So yeah, it is absolutely was a terrifying, terrible time. And then you had people out of work, legit couldn't get jobs, and so you have all of this stress in your home life. People are still burned out from their home life. So there was no reprieve. You took your very stressed out home life, went into work, dealt with the stress of work, came home, dealt with the stress of life, went back into work. And it was this horrible vicious cycle. I'd like to think it's getting maybe a little bit better at home, but the job is still out of control, as someone wrote, chaotic. So, all right, next slide. All right, so burnout. I think you guys are all there. You know what it is, but in case you aren't, let's just define it. It's a cumulative process. Yes, it has accumulated over all of 2020 and into 2021. Basically, you slowly lack empathy for a particular individual or situation, and it's due to this increased stress and workload, and you feel angry. I'm sure some of you, the angry burnout. Guilty. So don't care about your work as much. You know, I literally watch the clock like it's 4:58. Guys, we've got 2 more minutes. If anything comes through the door, I'm not dealing with it. I'm going to send it to the next team. That's what's going to happen. Or you see a mess and you just walk over it. You're just like, urine on the floor, not cleaning it up. I'm tired of bending over. And we've all been there. And I think it's important to recognize we're all either experienced burnout or we're in different stages of burnout. So next slide. All right, recognition is first step. You must realize you are burned out, because here's the thing, and Megan and I are going to stress this, only you can help yourself and your emotions. You know, yes, work is a contributor, home life is a contributor, but unless you ask for the help, you're never going to get the help that you need. You have to say, I'm burned out and I absolutely need help. So, and there's different coping mechanisms. We're going to talk about healthy coping mechanisms today. So it's really important to find yours and succeed. I created this acronym and it's yours to steal. So I need you guys to help yourself before taking care of others. And in the course of the day, these 4 things are the most important things. You need to hydrate, eat, laugh, and pee throughout the day in order to actually enjoy your day. So next slide. All right, Megan, I'm going to pass the torch to you.
Yeah, I think, you know, something that's really important that I think we need to remember is when it comes to your coping mechanisms, those might need to change. Even if what you had before the pandemic was healthy, it took a lot of those things away. We, you know, a large group of technicians that I worked with used to go to the gym at 5 in the morning, which that is going to add stress to my life. I will tell you what, if I'm missing sleep, but they used to go to the gym at 5 in the morning. They worked out together and then they would come to work. And that was how they dealt with stress. And COVID took that away. And those things are coming back. You're allowed to go to the gym again. You're allowed to go socialize with your friends. But is that available to you the way it was before? And I think a lot of what we're dealing with is trying to find something healthy that's actually available to us. And don't minimize that stress of saying, well, this is what I used to do, and now it's completely gone. But you have to look internally and you have to say, what can I do for myself? Absolutely. Sit down with your manager, sit down with your boss, sit down with whoever. And, you know, is this a sustainable schedule for us? What can we do as a hospital to try to help each other? But you can't just walk into work and say, I'm burned out. What are you going to do about that? It has to be, I'm burned out. What am I going to do about that? And sometimes it's just as simple as eating something. Can we please normalize eating food while you're at work? You know, I know you can't walk away for 30 minutes and sit down and have a perfect lunch off the hospital floor, you know, listening to soothing music. It's not always possible, but you can walk away for 10 minutes and shove a peanut butter and jelly sandwich in your mouth and get a drink of water. We need to just say, this is important to me. You know, these are the very basic building blocks of life, is to eat and drink. So, you know, making sure that you're making space for that in your life. And it shouldn't be that hard. I cannot fix burnout by eating lunch, but I can start to fix some of these very small things. Being able to say no sometimes if you literally can't pick up that extra shift, that it's okay to respond back and say, I'm not able to do that now, but I should be able to do that in another week. Or this is my protected family time, so I really can't work that Sunday, but here's what I can do that's a little bit, you know, adding on to help. So just thinking of these very, very basic things that you need to retake control of what's happening. I think so much stress comes from us not being able to control what's coming through the doors. We have our appointment books that are already, you know, triple booked, and then an emergency walks in. I have no control over that. So what can I control? I can control going to the bathroom when I have to go during the day. I can control eating a little bit of food. I can control saying yes or no to picking up that extra shift. So just remember that you can do something about this. You are not just at the mercy of your hospital. You need to look within yourself and say, what can I do to try to help this? Somebody said, take a bath. I love it. So I look at this is what's helped me. I am not a perfect person. I have worked a number of floor shifts in the last month that have kind of pushed my limit of good attitude. And what I need to do when I find myself getting really crabby, when I find myself, walking past that kennel and hoping that somebody else notices the poop, but then having to retract back and do it, is to start by assuming good intent of people around me. And it's literally just kind of reframing what's happening. The clients that are coming in and needing their pets to be seen, they didn't wait till that animal was really, really sick on purpose. We see that all the time. Oh, if they'd come in a week ago, we could have fixed this. Or why is everybody coming in at the same time, needing everything from me at the same moment? To just take a step back and say, I don't know what's happening in their life. I don't know what their education is. I don't know if they called another vet and they said, oh, it's going to be fine, and now they've ended up with us. But to just stop trying to put my expectations on other people, to just say they're here because they love their pet. I'm here to provide care for their pet, and we are just moving on. When that coworker frustrates me, shows up 10 minutes late, wants to leave on time, heaven forbid, and I get frustrated, I just need to say, this person's not doing it to me. They didn't come to work and say, ooh, I'm working with Megan, I'm going to try to leave 30 minutes early because I don't like her. They're saying, this is what's happening in my life, and they're doing the best they can. So to just assume that good intent, reframe that negativity, stop thinking that everything is against you. This also is a little bit of work, and negativity is easier for us, right? Negativity is kind of a defense mechanism that our brains came up with to protect us from the woolly mammoth that stepped on our ancestors, to say, ooh, woolly mammoth getting close, that's a negative experience, I'm going to remember that. So we're almost retrained to think negatively about things. So we have to take positivity and work on making that our default, to say, this day really wasn't that bad. To say, my team really pulled together and got this done. To say, well, today was just awful, but I got to, snuggle the cutest German short-haired pointer I've ever seen in my life. Remember that puppy that came in and we fixed it and it was great. Stop complaining about the broken toenail that comes in. Say, I'm so glad that was just a no-brainer emergency that we were able to fix and send out the door. Hooray. So make sure that we're trying to think of things as a positive instead of as a negative, because you can do that with just about every situation. So, really just thinking through, why am I so miserable and what can I do to try to flip that around, right? So setting the intention, sit in the parking lot before you start your shift. I am going to have a good day. Don't sit in the parking lot and cry, please. That makes me so sad. But sit in the parking lot and say, I'm going to have a good day. So I know, Amy, you've got some stuff to say about managing transitions.
Yeah, absolutely. Garrett, can you go through, so this is what Megan was saying, just assuming good intention and remembering that really the best rule of thumb is just to recognize that they didn't personally attack you or hurt the patient or hurt the practice on purpose, and just to assume the best intention, not learning not to make a mountain out of an anthill. I think, Megan, you like to say that. So, yeah. And next slide, Garrett. I love the what would Yoda do? So for me, I've had the opportunity to work with a Yoda. First of all, baby Yoda is just adorable. So you have to slip him into any presentation that you're absolutely doing. But besides that, I think that was the only good thing of 2020. If you haven't seen baby Yoda, he's freaking adorable. But anyway, so what would Yoda do? Yoda is someone who does have emotions. They have great control over their emotions, and they know when to react. And obviously Yoda can have the ability to fight when necessary, but for the most part, they walk around with life assuming good intention. And my great example of someone who is a Yoda is someone who I've worked with for 20-something, well, she's been at the practice for 20-something years, but I've worked with her for like 15 years, and I've literally watched clients scream at her, like screaming at her and saying, you don't care about my pet, money grubbing, we all get it. And she walks away and I go, oh my gosh, are you okay? And she'll say to me, you know what? It's not about me. They have no money and they just really love their fur baby. And I just really feel bad for them that they don't have that. And I think that's Yoda right there, because the rest of us come flying back going, I just had a client scream at me. Bah! And I'm like, the control and the recognition and seeing it from the other side, having that ability really does keep your energy for yourself and allow you more energy in return. So next slide, Garrett. Yeah, and Megan hit the nail on the head, reframing the negativity. Happiness adds to happiness. Negativity takes away all your negativity. And this is definitely your slide, Megan. So yeah.
This is what I chant to the team and myself all the time. When the board of what's waiting to come in is so full, there's no room. When you walk into the ICU and we're literally dragging up cages from the basement, we had to go to large animal and get a calf pen to put in one of our radiology rooms to put a mastiff that couldn't walk into it because we just had no space. And I look around and I say, I can only do what I can do. I go to the ER team. You can only do what you can do. You are not a superhero. You just put your head down and you do it. And that's it. I love this. What if versus what is. Don't worry about what if. This is what's in front of you. Do it. And if you spend your time worrying about what might happen, you're going to be that much farther behind. So take a deep breath and you can only do what you can do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So managing transitions. Brendan Bouchard wrote a best-selling book called 5 Key Habits for High Performers or something like that. But what he talks about is managing transitions and setting an intention, not just for your day, but for every single transition. And I find that this is a really good practice because when we set out to be happy in the mornings or when we end our shift, it's more likely going to happen. There's been a lot of research that has shown that if we set a solid intention, we're more likely to get it. And so I think about it when we come into the veterinary hospital in the morning. So many of us, Megan just talked about the what ifs, right? We walk into the hospital dragging our bodies over the threshold, still beaten up from the day before. And we go, oh my gosh, what if that client's nasty? Or what if someone comes in late? Or what if I get stuck late? Or what if we have another surgery? Or what if we get 10 more emergencies? And so we feel the anxiety and nothing's actually happened yet. We didn't even say hello to our team to say good morning. We just immediately come up with all the negative things about how it's going to be. It's going to be horrible. And so when we set that intention of it being horrible, it's more likely to be horrible because we've already put all the dread and fear and the what ifs that might happen into that day. So instead, take a deep breath. If it helps you, count down from 5. Open the clinic door, and right before you do that, set that intention. I'm going to walk in. I'm not going to say anything negative. I'm going to say hello to my team, and today is going to be a better day than yesterday. And for those of you who have family, going home, and yes, absolutely, there's a lot of research that says venting to some level will help alleviate stress, but there is a thing called too much venting, and your family's had a very stressful day, and the kids have had a very stressful year. So when we come home, set the venting to a time limit, but the first thing you should do is walk in and smile and ask them how they're doing and set that intention that I'm going to go in and I'm going to focus on my family. Turn the cell phone down. Don't look at work. Don't think about work, whatever that is, but setting the intention is really important. It's one of those things that's helped me. So, all right, next slide. Oh, yeah. So advocate for yourself. I'll pass the torch to Megan, but before I do, you got to learn to take a real break. As Megan said, we're not going to get 30 minutes. That's not it. But getting your mind off of work is a real problem, and you need to be able to eat. No, first of all, stop with the guilt shaming of other people, because I've seen it in every hospital. This is a phenomenon worldwide where someone goes off and they are eating food and the rest of the team goes, where is he? Is she eating food right now? Is she eating food? Wait, is she eating food? I mean, we've got 10 million. I can't even believe she's eating. It's not like she's going and sitting down for an hour. That individual, he or she, is just eating so that they can survive. But then the rest of the team bashes them and makes them feel like they're less than. So we got to stop that. That's just nasty behavior. But get your mind completely off of work, because what you guys are doing, there's 2 ways to eat food. You can take a piece of chocolate, put it on your tongue and savor every little flavor in that piece of chocolate. Or what all veterinary professionals do, you ram food down your throat at 100 miles an hour and you can't taste a darn thing and you don't even remember eating. So you need to get your mind actually off of work, which ironically requires you to make sure you stop thinking about work, which is a conscious effort to do so. So Megan, what do you do to advocate for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, for me, it's very difficult to do when I'm in the building. So I make sure that I am doing something when I get home. And the problem with me is that, it's never done, right? Work is never done. It doesn't matter what your job is. We're constantly thinking about it. So what are you going to do to kind of break that? I am an avid podcast listener. This is the time that I'm not going to listen to a veterinary podcast. I'm going to listen to something that's completely outside of the realm of medicine, animals, any of it, and I will take my dog for a walk. And I get home and I'm very anxious and my mind is running of here's what you have to do, here's what you didn't get done, here's what's happening tomorrow. But I will put my dog on a leash and I will put on a podcast that has nothing to do with work and I will walk. Usually after about 10 minutes, I can start to feel the brain relax and be able to focus on what I'm listening to and actually allow it to not focus on veterinary medicine. I cannot take a 3-week vacation and go sit in the mountains somewhere and allow myself to stop thinking about work. That actually makes it worse because that's 3 weeks that I'm not doing anything for work. So I just take a very, very small break, allow my mind to reset. And then if I do have to work on things at home, I'm not as anxious anymore because I've allowed myself to kind of download all of the stuff that was worrying me. And now I have something that I can focus on. So it's not a major thing that I do. It's very small. It's what works for me. But you have to be able to say, no, this is the time that I have carved out for myself. This is important to me.
Awesome. Next slide. So really, truly, only you know what you need, and that is important that you ask for it. And next slide, Garrett. Awesome. You got to respect boundaries and respect other people's boundaries. And this is a hard one because here's the thing, and Megan can add to this, you feel guilty when you say no, because that is normal in veterinary medicine to give. But at some point, this is not normal. And we have to start recognizing what do we need? How can we set those boundaries? I loved it. I just spoke to a veterinarian a couple weeks ago, and she said, I set a boundary, Amy. She said, I'm going home by 7 p.m. every day to tuck my kids in. And that means that on the weekends, I might be writing up records longer. I might have a longer weekend, but I need to stay. I need to go home. I need to see my children. I need to say goodnight to them. I need to be with them. And I said, good for you. And for 90% of the time now, the team respects her boundaries. She's out by 7. And I love that. We have to start doing that for ourselves. So Megan, go ahead, chime in.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And we need to stop making other people feel guilty for doing something for themselves. Because if we're an entire hospital of burned out, crabby people, no, nobody wants to work there. So just do what you have to do for yourself and respect and assume that good intent of your team that they are doing what's important for them so that they can come back the next day, recharged, ready to help. Because what we do is so much helping. And if you have nothing left, you cannot show up and help. We've got to figure out how to make this work.
Yeah, absolutely. And to your point, Megan, this is not going away. I mean, I think we all thought like when it started being insanely busy in July of last year, it was going to go away, but it's not. We just keep waiting. It's not going to happen.
It's kind of our new normal. So how are we going to make it work?
Yeah, we have to be able to survive and even thrive in this profession. And that really does start with us as a person. What do we need and putting those boundaries. So next slide, Garrett. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I will say this, on Monday, I'm doing a VETgirl webinar at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out the website if you're interested in registering. It's called Managing Emotions on Busy Days. So we're going to dive into, obviously, this content a little bit more. But thank you, VETgirl, so much for having us. And our emails are up there if you want to reach out to Megan or I.
Awesome. Thank you both. Before I get to one more slide, I'm just going to bring back, in case you missed the beginning of the presentation, I will just make this big one more quick time. Remember, this is currently live. This is race approved. There are 2 ways to get your CE certificate. One is if you do not have a smartphone, that's the web address to type in to fill out that form at tinyurl.com/VG. So for VETgirl, VG 71421. So it's today's date. 714-21. The other option, I'll show it one more time. If you have any sort of semblance of a smartphone, I just turn it on to my camera. You can't see me right now. Let me bring this back for 1 second. All right, so you turn it on to your camera, right? You put your camera right up to that QR code, and now you'll see I get a little thing at the top. It's a little Safari web browser. If I just touch that and click on it, there comes the form you need to fill out. So hopefully I'll leave this up for a second or two more. Again, this is very important. We will close this down around 1 p.m. Eastern in about 30 minutes because it's supposed to end at 12:30. So we'll give everyone at least 20, 25 minutes to fill out this form after the session is over. Please make sure to do that. That is the only way to get the CE certificate. It is for live attendance only. And then I'm just going to go ahead and quickly bring up our closing slide. And then I'd love to get to a couple of questions and a couple of thoughts. To me, awesome information. I think I was trying to think of overarching themes or takeaways for today's event. And both of you hit the nail on the head to some degree. Number one, you are not alone. There's no single person that should feel that, wow, I can't believe I'm the only busy one. Nobody else understands what I'm going through. I think as a group, as a veterinary team, as a veterinary community, we all understand this is a problem or issue for all of us right now. There's not one person. So please never feel alone that nobody else will understand. I know sometimes maybe your significant other is not in the field, or a family member, an aunt or an uncle is not in the field, and how can I complain to them? They don't know what it's like. They think I play with puppies and kittens all day, or whatever we think, right? And we all know what that really means. But in this community, you are not alone. There are a lot of people to reach out to, talk to, commiserate with, get ideas from, etc. So you are not alone. So that's the first overarching theme that to me came across. I know this is a challenge for all of us, right? Amy was talking about shoveling food down your throat, and Megan's talking about podcasts. We have to be creative, right? And the bottom line is we have to be creative about ways that personally you find your peace. Megan finds her peace with her podcasts. For me, it's doing other things. For me, simply, my first start is closing my laptop monitor, saying I'm not going to type to anyone. I'm not going to answer an email for 30 minutes. Justine, don't yell at me. I know you're behind the scenes. I'll get to the emails as quickly as I can. She's typing in frantically. Garrett, you answer those emails. No, in all seriousness, right? Like there has to be a moment where you say, I'm not gonna do this. It's next to me. I stole my daughter's little Oculus, one of those like VR devices, just to fight some laser swords or whatever it is, just for a couple of minutes. But whatever it is, whether it's going to the gym, whether it's taking a walk like Megan, just find what works for you. I mean, these are not obviously things that you say, well, I have to do what Megan does. I have to listen to non-veterinary podcasts. Do what's right for you. There's a lot of ideas out there. The one question that did come up, I know the past couple of years, everyone's been focused on, Myers-Briggs and disc training and personality. Both of you are I'm just going to use the word, Justine wrote, accept my emails. Yes, Justin, I'll respond to your emails, I promise. Trust me, my shock collar goes off if 30 seconds goes by and I haven't answered a Justine email. Don't worry. But in all seriousness, so going back, personalities, and both of you, I'm just going to use the word, I know it's not your exact title, but you're managers. You manage other people, you deal with other people, and again, a lot has gone into personalities. What are your thoughts on dealing with different personalities? Whether it's Myers-Briggs or disc training, how do you, as managers, deal with that with different people? And I'll let you two discuss.
Megan, do you want to field it first?
Yeah, I mean, I have found a lot of my personal growth has come from learning about these different aspects of my communication style and, what stresses me out and what helps me recover from stress. And all those things are very different. But I look at a veterinary hospital, I look at our ER team, what stresses them out is very different than what stresses out our internal medicine team. And we tend to go places, and work in either services or hospitals that kind of fit our personalities. And so what's important to me is to not try to judge what stresses somebody else out. Just because I'd be able to handle it, I can look at the ophthalmology team and say, oh man, I wish I worked with them because their problems are nothing. But to that team, that's a big deal. And so we just need to recognize that all of us are going to be, set off by something different. And the key to me is just discussing it with individuals and saying, what can we do to help you, who you are, manage what's going on? And I do think that all of those different tests can just kind of help you learn about yourself and how you can move forward from that. But it is going to be different for everybody, and not trying to blanket and say, this is what helped me, so everyone else get better.
Yeah. And really same here. Like, it really goes back to assuming good intention. I don't know what someone else needs, and their boundaries and their bandwidth are completely different from mine. I might have come into work with a full belly and had a more relaxing night, and able to work 12 hours standing up with minimal food. And looking at that other individual, they're falling apart. They obviously aren't doing as well, and not placing judgment on them just because I'm doing okay, and recognizing that, here's one thing I will say, we got to check in with each other. I think there's a lot of misconception about asking how someone's doing as if all of a sudden you're going to be their therapist. That doesn't actually, it's not a thing. It's not going to happen. But just caring about someone, and this is my 2 sentences that I need everyone to get in their brain and repeat multiple times when you see someone struggling, which is, you don't seem like yourself today. Is everything okay? Those 2 sentences mean I see you, you're not okay, and I care about you. And you're not going to be the one to fix their problems. You just are there to listen. But I think people are afraid of talking because, oh my goodness, then they'll want me to fix their problems. No one wants you to fix their problems. They just want someone to care. And so I think that's one of the big things. We all have different personalities, but recognizing we're all very different, and that can be great and it can be challenging. So yeah.
Awesome information. And I would love if everyone takes a moment, if they have something to say. What have you done, thought about, has your practice implemented to help in these challenging times? Whether it's a pizza party on a needed day, whether it's 15-minute massages they hire for somebody to come in, you name it. If you could type that in just for everyone to see, because if we can share ideas of of something even small that has made your day or your life better for this in your practice, that would be wonderful to share those ideas. And we don't want to add to your stress on this day, so we're going to end shortly. If this is your moment to taste that chocolate, go ahead, please do that and take that moment. Justine had 2 comments in the feed I'd love you to look at. One is, our VETgirl U conference is coming up just under a month from now, and we do have a few spots left. So if you're interested, she posted a link to a Flipping Book, which is our magazine site, so you can see a little bit of a preview for our VETgirl U conference. And on our website, you can certainly sign up. Again, we do have a few spots left. It is almost completely sold out. We are so excited to hug you if you wish to be hugged, high five or elbow you, or just wave from a distance, whatever it is, we're prepared for that. But we're excited to see everyone on the other side of the computer screen, behind there somewhere in just about a month. So whether we see you at Amy's presentation on Monday behind the screen, or whether we see you in Chicago at VETgirl U, we hope to see all of you again in the future. Again, please go ahead, and if you have something exciting or helpful, go ahead and type that in. What is your practice, or what have you done for your associates, et cetera, to make their days a little better during these challenging times? And I'll end with this. Please remember that you are not alone. We all are with you. We thank you. We know how hard you have worked in these past year and a half, 18 months. We are all here for you. And please reach out if you have any questions. But we hope you enjoyed today's VETgirl YouTube Live about managing that caseload stress. And we hope to see you online at our next event. Amy and Megan, thank you so much for your insight and helpful information for everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Bye, everyone. Have a great day and a great rest of your week.
Go eat a snack.